Welcome in, YouTube, to the adventures of Morrighan, Initari, Shadowbringers, Tank Roll Quest. I know, you're thinking, why aren't you wearing headphones? Well, it's because I'm recording this on Christmas Eve. It's about a week after I finished the actual editing of the video, and I'm just now getting around to recording the intros and outros. So, let me know what you're thinking of these videos down below with a like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications when I post new videos, all that good stuff that helps me out on the YouTube algorithm. And don't forget that you can catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/CalebGames here, where I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, usually starting between 9 and 10 a.m. Pacific time. I love you, YouTube, and I'll see you in just a second. Can't say I've chatted with you before. Think I'd remember if I had. Seen your fair share of fighting, have you? Something like that, yeah? And wary besides, eh? Rest assured, I've no secret designs. Name's Granson. Bounty hunter by trade, mostly sin eaters. When I first laid eyes on you, I had a feeling you were a tough bastard. The sort that must get mistaken for that warrior of darkness folks I've been talking about recently. That right? Not at all, buddy. Easy, killer. I couldn't care less who you are or what you've done. The only thing I'm looking for these days is a like-minded partner. Someone willing to join me in the hunt for the biggest prize this side of Norvrot. Prize, you say? Thought that'd grab your attention. Dikaioscene's the fiend I'm after. One of the so-called cardinal virtues, as folks are wont to call them. Former warriors of light, the esteemed heroes who saved the realm a century. Dear old Brandon was one of them, I'm told. Stop me if you've heard all this before. Anyway, like his comrades, Brandon died in the process, only to return relatively recently as a sin eater. The better to torment we few who survived their mercy. Needless to say, I aim to put an end to all that. You've heard the pitch, so what's the answer? You interested in hunting Dikaioscene with me? Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go take out Brandon. Let's see if we can figure out his true story. Not a whit of hesitation. I like you, sinner. Nevertheless, I'll need you to humor me and prove you're the dab hand I think you are, for my sake as well as yours. I've heard reports of stray eaters drifting close to the Crystarium. Come with me and put my mind at ease. So a test of sorts, eh? We gotta slay a sin eater? Alright, fair enough. This story. It's so good. All of the role quests are. They are really good. And they give you such good backstory and lore on Ardbert and his party. Here's where the Ethernet shard was. So yeah, let's do them. There you are. Very good. The Sin Eaters we're after were sighted west of the Ascensor Gate, so we'll need to head through there before we begin our search. Oh, and if you happen to have any objections to killing eaters for sport, remember that many were once innocent people. You'll be doing them a favor putting them out of their misery. Fair. I guess that is one way to look at it. Sorry, but I'll be sitting this one out. Need to make sure I can rely on you in battles first. You understand. Oh, you would. I should probably bring my chocobo out. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, grandson, how was that? Was that good enough for you? Good, clean work. This is clearly not your first time. Let's do this once more just to confirm it wasn't a fluke, though. Besides, the world could do with less sin eaters. Follow me. Shouldn't be much further. Follow me. That's my impression of Leon Scott Kennedy. Don't look at me. Your prey is out there somewhere. Forgiven Folly? Folly's my sister. Just the one? Okay. Yeah, that'll do. You're exactly the sort of woman I've been looking for, and thank the gods for that. My apologies for subjecting you to such a silly test, but I'd rather not have an amateur's death on my conscience. Let's head back to the Wandering Stairs and make this official, shall we? We shall. My return is still on cooldown though, so I'll have to pay for this teleport. But I'll put it in my expense report so you can reimburse me, grandson. So just to make sure you're still keen on our arrangement, Morrighan, will you join with me and hunt the dread fiend Dikaioseed and put an end to his accursed existence? Yes. Excellent. Then it is settled. Now, every hunt begins with an investigation, and ours is no exception. Dikaioseed can be a rather difficult eater to pin down. But before we commence ours, we would do well to attend to our respective preparations. Let me know when you are ready to proceed. Well, well. I'm ready. All set to embark on our great hunt, Morrighan. Then let us be about it. Before you ask, I've no intention of leading us out into the wilds without even an inkling of Dikaioseed's whereabouts. Norvant may not be a particularly large realm, even before the flood, but it'd take us a dozen lifetimes to scour every nook and cranny. So we'll start by asking around a place I know for a fact Dikaioseed was seen before, has attacked before, the village of Wright on Calusia. While I don't have reason to believe he will return, I'd like to think that the survivors might know something of value. After all, you can be sure that they haven't forgotten the day the bastard came through. So let us be off then. Fair. Said right? Rendezvous with grandson in Calusia. Welcome to Wright. I reckon it might not seem like much to you, but to me, never mind. We'll save that conversation for after. Tracking down Dikaioseed is what matters right now. Let's split up and ask after the bastard. Better odds of turning up useful information that way, I'd wager. Alright. There's a person over here, and a person over there. What do you want with me? The Sin Eater, the one that came and killed everyone. Oh gods, is he here? Then why are you talking about him? Oh, I knew I should have stayed inside. There's nothing but death out here now. Death and horror and eaters and... Ah! Huh? Where did you come from? And what do you want with me? Dikaioseed? That thrice-damned eater that's the spitting image of a Galgit knight? That Dikaioseed? I can't help you. All I know is that when he came, he... Wicked White, if you had seen the carnage, you would. I'm sorry. I can't talk about this. Well, learn anything worth sharing? I wish I could say I'm surprised, but I'm not. What we saw that day, what he did to us. There's no moving on from that. What exactly happened here? Well, I was planning to tell you the whole story eventually, but I suppose now is as good a time as any. You waiting, buddy? I was born and raised in Wright. Lacking any real prospects, I eked out a living as a hunter. Might have tried my hand at something more exciting had I not also been trying to provide for the love of my life, Melinda. It was about a year ago that she accepted a commission from this Morrighan trader. Bloke dealt mostly in antiques, and he had this bracelet in need of restoration. Bloody old with a questionable provenance, but supposedly it once belonged to royalty or some such. The Fangs of Orthus, he called it. Me and her had been talking about tying the proverbial knot. Buying land, building a home, that sort of thing. Around here that might not take much, but it was still a lot more than we had. So when the trader made his offer, she didn't hesitate to say yes. I'd gone down to the shipyards to pick up extra tools and materials she needed for the work. Quality stuff, but it'd pay for itself 10 times over. But when I got back to Wright, the Kaiosine had been busy. I spied at least a dozen newborn eaters fluttering about, trying to make sense of their new lot. The grandmother who lived next door and shared the fruits of her orchards with us. The gruff woodsman who'd brought firewood to our doorstep in the dead of winter. Both of them reduced to mindless fiends just like that. There wasn't time to mourn or to think. I started looking for Melinda. And then there she was, alive and well. Our eyes met, and we knew it was going to be all right. We ran for each other, and even now, a year later, it doesn't feel real. One moment she was there, right there in front of me, and the next she was... The Kaiosine knelt and took the Fangs of Orthus, then left, leading a host of sin-eaters out of Wright. But Melinda, I still couldn't see her as anything else. She wouldn't budge, she just hovered there and stared, waiting for me to end it. Well, I could never say no to her, not once in the years we'd been together. For all the times she'd welcomed me home with a bowl of hot stew, all the times she laughed at my crude jokes and gave me counsel when I was losing my way. For all the times, or for all that and more, I killed her. I swore then and there I'd have my vengeance. The Kaiosine would die by my hand. I carved the scars in my flesh to mirror the ones he left on my soul, an enduring reminder of the vow that I never dare stray from the path. There. All done. No need to wallow in it. Wouldn't want my tragic yet trite tale to put you off our hunt. Still with me to the end, sinner? That's the spirit. Still, I have some unfinished business here, so if you could give me a moment before we resume, I would be most grateful. Deal. Heavy as shit. Sorry to have kept you waiting, sinner. I'm sure you're eager to get back to it, as am I. Trouble is, in your absence, I failed to turn up any information as to the whereabouts of the Kaiosine. There is one line of inquiry I've yet to pursue. The Fang of Orthus. The bracelet my beloved was supposed to restore and that the Eater took with him when he left Right. Sin Eaters are mindless fiends driven only by base instinct. Everyone knows that. They've no need for worldly possessions. Yet Dikaiosine took the bracelet anyway, which can only mean that there's something unique about this particular antique, or the sinless bastard somehow different from the rest of his ilk. Either way, I think we need to learn more about the Fang of Orthus, and I know just the man to ask, the Yomoran trader who commissioned Melinda's services. Much as I'd like to question him myself, though, I don't think that's an option. Even though Dikaiosine's attack a year ago is common knowledge, I doubt the trader will believe that an Eater stole his precious trinket. He's more likely to accuse me of theft and have me clapped in irons. So I'm afraid you'll have to go in my stead, Morrighan. Melinda said he was a regular at the Beehive, so try looking for him there first. So he was a regular of the strip joint / brothel. Everybody in Yulmore is, though, honestly. Probably even the Chais. They just probably have like a back room that they go to for it.
Okay, so this is my best attempt at dubbing because I just realized in post that this whole section, my microphone was muted. So, and to what do I owe the pleasure that is your company? The Fangs of Orthus, you say? How very interesting. I should be glad to tell you everything that I know, under the assumption that should you recover it, you will see it return to its rightful owner at once. I purchased the bracelet from a traveling peddler who claimed it was a relic of Vobert, that glorious kingdom that fell with the flood like so many others. He spoke true from what I could tell, and I intended to sell it to a collector here for a tidy profit, after having it properly restored by an artisan in Right. Alas, she was one of several casualties of a Sin Eater attack, during which the Fangs of Orthus mysteriously vanished. I have, of course, been keeping in touch with several contacts on the off chance that the thief might attempt to sell it. They have not, regrettably, but a piece of similar design did recently surface in Mordsuk, I am told. I was planning to dispatch an agent to investigate, but you seem more than capable of fulfilling that role. As for incentive, you may be assured that any information that aids me in the acquisition of the Fangs of Orthus or similar relics will be well rewarded. So what did our industrious patron have to say? So he thinks it was stolen, eh? Just as well. We'd probably not know where to head next if it wasn't for his distrusting nature. If this piece of similar design is related to the Fangs of Orthus, then it might attract Dikaiosine's attention, assuming it hasn't already. Let's go. Fine weather we're having today in Mordsuk, isn't it? We'll find no shortage of Vobertite trinkets here. Finding the right one, on the other hand, is the challenge. I say divide and conquer as before. Well met, well met. How may I be of service to you? Oh, a choker that once belonged to Vobertite royalty, you say? If only I had such a remarkable treasure in my possession, but no, I do not. In all my years here, I have never even heard of someone unearthing such a treasure. Yes, do you have business with me, traveler?
Well, that's fantastic. I just realized my microphone has been muted. So, I don't know how long it's been muted, but we'll pick up the quest here. Ah, the Vobertite choker. Is that what all this fuss is about? Then you're in luck, for my husband has yet to sell it. Once we realized how valuable it was, though, he insisted on carrying it with him at all times. If you're not willing to wait for him to return, you could try to find him at the ruins where he's scavenging for relics. They're not far. Because I don't know how long ago it was muted and I thought I unmuted but didn't, we had to talk to Zen about this choker. He did not have it. We talked with Grandson and Wright, and he sent us into Yulmore. where we had to go track down the person at the Honeybee Inn, or the Beehive, whatever it's called in 14, who originally commissioned his fiancée Melinda to restore it, and he and the industrial worker, or whatever that guy was, the patron who did the commission, told us that there was a possibility it might be in Mordsuk. So, that's why we're here. What news, friend? Ha! To think that it was that easy. You've the luck of the Fae. But we need to hurry. If my theory's correct, then so long as that scavenger has the choker, he's a target for Dikaiosine. What do you see, Morrighan? Mercy! Mercy! Take whatever you want, but please, don't kill me. I have a family, Please, I beg of you. Unfortunate. Well, we're gonna have to kill that thing. To see the original Warriors of Darkness on the Furt, or in the source anyways, what they went by, become the villains. Please! Please! Alright. I will do what I must. Help me, Vexalia. Alright, easy enough. Rendezvous with Grandson. Mr. Dark Knight. Shame you missed the fun. This one bit off more than he could chew. Probably because it was a newborn. You can tell by the lingering vestiges of intelligence and self. You can see it in their eyes. Like when Dikaiosine... Don't tell me. You saw him? I did. He turned someone, and then got the choker. Wicked white. And he took the choker too? Damn it. Damn it all. He can't keep getting away with it. He can't keep getting away with it. It's just like right. I was too late to save him. Just like I was too late to save her. But not again. Never again. I'll hunt you to the ends of the world, Dikaiosine. Vengeance will be mine. Right. Yes, neither the time nor the place. More eaters could be about. It's just... every time I cut one down, it reminds me of my first. Of her. I'm just gonna teleport. Cut down on travel time a little bit, you know? Like I said, I'm gonna bill him for all these. He's gonna have to reimburse my teleport fees. I would put them on, you know, my Scion expense report, but I feel like Tataru would say, hey, those fees are from the first, not here. We don't pay for teleportation fees on other reflections. We may have failed to stop him this time, but what matters is that we'll both live to see another day. Pity the scavenger didn't. and the wife doesn't yet know she's become a widow. Sod it. I'll tell her what happened. I've been there. So maybe it'll help me to find the right words. Not that there ever are any. Afterwards, we'll find... that was wrong words altogether, except for the first one. Afterwards, I'll have a good think about our next step. Don't let me keep you from your other affairs, Morrighan. We'll speak again soon. The Princess and Her Knight. Oh, this is when we get to do the first duty, I think. Hey there, sinner. I broke the bad news to the widow of that scavenger while you were away. She took it about as well as you'd expect, and after she'd cried herself hoarse, I started asking her about the choker and where her husband had got it. Seems he and his mates took a trip to Ilmeg a year or so back, hoping to cart off all the Vobertite treasures they could carry from an untouched ruin they'd learned about. Of course, in their greed, they neglected to account for the Fey folk, who killed or drove mad most of them. Those who survived didn't come away empty-handed, though. In fact, they'd stumbled upon a remarkable find: 3 sacred treasures of the royal family. They escaped with 2, the Fangs of Orthus being one of them, which was sold by another scavenger to a Yomoran. Either that merchant you met at the Beehive or an agent of his, I'd wager. So the merchant gives it over to Melinda for restoration, after which Dikaiosine attacks Right, presumably because he's after it as well. Meanwhile, the scavenger here in Mordsu keeps the choker, the Eyes of Orthus, locked away for safekeeping. And when he finally decides to sell it, the sinless bastard shows up again. Which brings us to the here and now. Damned if I know why, but at this point there's no denying that Dikaiosine's been hunting the royal relics. And so, assuming he hasn't already claimed the third one, the Claws of Orthus, then I say we should get our hands on it first and then use it to lure him out of hiding. But to that end, we'll have to venture into the fairy kingdom ourselves. Those scavengers didn't receive the warmest welcome, and we're not like to be treated any better. I've dabbled in travel to the Ilmeg before. I may know a fairy or two. Have you now? And the little devils let you go? I can only assume they've taken a liking to you. Well, I kinda know their king. That settles it then. We'll head to Ilmeg and ask after this Vobertite ring. Just stay away from the Fwath. What a remarkably uneventful trip. I kept jumping at shadows, waiting for eaters or foul demons or worse to attack. Though that might be preferable to the Fae, frankly. Still, we're going to have to deal with them eventually if we're going to find this ring. After all, the Numau were part of Vobertite society, and without their help I'm not sure where to even begin our search. Perhaps there's a village of some sort you can guide us to? Well, there is Plyany. Plyany, eh? Very well. Lead on, sinner. Don't know how I feel about that nickname. Something about your demeanor bespeaks a question unasked. Have I the right of it? A ring that belonged to the royal family of Vobert, and it was called the Claws of Orthus, But Vobert is long gone, as are the caretakers of the ring you seek. Who can say where it might have got to? Well, you weren't very helpful. Oh, hello there. You have questions for me? The Claws of Orthus. It is a ring, you say? The name I have heard before, but I know nothing save that. Oh, Sul-Ol served the royal family before the flood. Somewhat temperamental they are, but surely they will have knowledge of this treasure you seek. Had yourself a conversation or three. Learn anything interesting? So this Sul Ol is the one we ought to speak with, eh? Former servant of the royal family? Which would mean they've lived well over a century. Bugger me. I still think it's funny and kind of fucked up in the MSQ when you get here and you need them to give you an answer quickly on whether or not they'll give you the stone scepter. And Urianje's like, I think you all should roll over and something and fetch us the scepter. And the three that you're talking to are like, oh, that's a very dirty trick to use the words that have power. And I agree. I do not know you, yet you seem to know me. Oh, my head. I'm getting a flashback. The fifth was discovered yesterday. A young girl not yet of age, transformed into a misshapen beast like the others before her. As if we needed more proof of a pattern. At this rate, any citizen could be next. Tell me you at least learned something from this one. I studied her remains myself. 'Twas plain a powerful magic had been employed. Vestiges of the enchantment lingered long after. The culprit, I think, is not a man to be trifled with. That is all I can say for now, but you may rest assured that I will ascertain their identity ere long. On my honor as court mage, I swear it. Until I do, however, I would implore you and your fellow knights to dispatch any who turn or show signs, without hesitation. But these are our kith and kin. Should we not try to keep them alive until a way to reverse their transformation can be found? Your mercy would place countless others at risk. As a knight of Vober, did you not vow to serve all her people? Justice for the weakest among us, was it not? How many such innocents will die before you do what must needs be done? It pains me deeply, Brandon, but the safety of the royal family is paramount. I fear that to take anything less than the most drastic measures would be to invite death into this castle. Death is already here. Surely you must see that. I will not let it be whispered that Princess Saldia turned a blind eye to her people's suffering. These crimes are a tragedy that weighs upon every Vobertite soul, mine most of all. That is why I will take charge of the investigation myself. My lady, be responsible. Oh, be reasonable. You cannot put yourself in harm's way. You have a responsibility to your subjects. So I am to gamble with their lives instead. Let them shield me while I alone take shelter and look down on them from on high. Yes, exactly. You are their princess. You are Brandon, yes? The new recruit? A rather promising one from what the captain has told me. You will attend me personally. My lady. You heard me. I will not stand idly by when I have the power to make a difference. Together we will see justice done for all, as your vow and your princess demand. Lady Saldia, I understand. Forgive me my hesitation. My life and my sword are yours to command. I have great expectations for you. I trust you will not disappoint me. Right. There is no telling when our culprit will strike again. So we must begin our investigation at once. There were witnesses to be questioned, clues to be gathered. Come, come. Now, Lady Saldia. Lady Saldia. Ever the stubborn child, I wish the best of luck, Brandon. You will need it and more. Hey, are you alright? The way you were holding your head, as if racked by a terrible pain. What happened to you just now? I saw your past, Soul. Lady Saldia, you saw her with your mind's eye, then. Then it is as I suspected. You have the gift too. You are like Brandon. What do you mean she's like Brandon? Why have you come to me? What is it that you seek? We're looking for the third thing, the ring. I see. And for this hunt of yours, you have come to Ilmeg in search of the claws of Orthus. I am afraid this is no simple matter. First, I would know that you are capable of facing the eater you seek. So we gotta prove ourselves again? There was a spot in a river not far from here in which I used to bathe, until a number of beasts grew equally fond of it. If you are the warrior you claim to be, they should pose no challenge whatsoever. You got it. I'll take care of them. As for you, I have questions. Just answer them, Brandon. No, your grandson. Jeez. I swear the headache wasn't that bad. Alright, let's fly. Boy, this survey's taken a while. You sense a hostile presence. The beasts are no more, then? Good. I hadn't the heart to do it myself, for they were no ordinary beasts, but old friends who had survived the flood, victims of the curse you heard us speak of in your vision. So this curse transforms people into monsters, like how sin eaters can spawn more of their own kind. I will speak no more of this or other matters until after you have completed the task I set before you. This is not negotiable, grandson. Morrighan accepted my terms, and so must you. So secretive, the both of you. Can't we all just speak plain? Your comrade refuses to acknowledge his situation. This may take time, but I am patient. Indeed, I have dealt with many a stubborn child in my life. Exemplary timing, Morrighan. 'Twas not more than a moment ago that grandson returned, having at last obliged my humble request. Humble request my ass. This one's no better than a Yomoran aristocrat, so accustomed to making others do their bidding. I tell you, there's something off-putting about taking orders from a dog. Ere you continue and give me cause to reconsider aiding your hunt, perhaps you should ask your questions. Fine. Morrighan said she saw a vision of you and Brandon looking thick as thieves. You were friends, eh? Know what he's up to now? Brandon is dead. He died a century ago, together with his comrades in an attempt to halt the flood that they themselves set in motion. I presume you speak of the eater that took possession over his corpse. The Kaiosine, aye. But unlike most eaters, he's been doing more than roam about aimlessly. For some reason, he's been hunting down royal treasures of old Vobert, and he's been killing anyone who got in his way. Is he now? What irony. Even in death, he remains a slave to duty, a knight brave and true. He's a murderer, and I'll not hear it said otherwise. He ruined my life, killed my beloved right before my very eyes. Every night I go to bed dreaming of the day I'll take my revenge. Oh, I see. Truly you have suffered a terrible loss. While your thirst for vengeance is quite natural and understandable, it is ultimately misguided. Unusual behavior notwithstanding, Dikaiosin is nevertheless no more than an eater. To hate him is to hate the sea that claims the ship, the disease that steals the child, the tremor that topples the home, the mindless force of nature that begets destruction, driven by fragmented memory. Don't you dare make excuses for him. You think I wanted any of this? I grew up on a farm. I could barely wield a sword, and now I've got to kill one of the bloody cardinal virtues. Hate and anger and vengeance are all I've got now. My every waking moment is dedicated to plotting his death. It has to be. It has to be. So just tell us where the God's damned ring is and we'll be on our way. This is how it has to be, Who you have to be. Nay, I think not. You ask too much, demand far, far too much, and in exchange for what? This I cannot abide. Are you trying to barter with me? You little shit? Tell me what I want to know or I'll beat it out of you. Back off, Morrighan. I won't let anyone or anything stand between me and Melinda's murderer. Brandon was a dear friend. To know that an eater disgraces his flesh and his memory pains me more than I can well express. It would bring me great comfort if you were to grant him peace. I should like to share with you a story, if you would be so kind as to join me in Ligia. This had better have a point. I mean, it was the castle. I believe this is when we get to relive a memory. I thought it was the last quest. I thought wrong. "'Tis beautiful even now, a palace of forgotten dreams. But before it was Liagia in the time of Aubert, it was Grunes Licht. The memory of mine in which you walked was of a troubled time, when the people of our kingdom were preyed upon by an ambitious fool. Brandon, then a young knight who had only just won his spurs, had caught the eye of Princess Saldia, who chose him as her personal guardian. However, he was far too inexperienced, and was unable to keep her safe when she ventured outside these walls on one of her investigations. For his failure, he was stripped of his knighthood, and shortly thereafter he quit Vobert. I thought I would never see him again. But then one day he returned, one of several wandering adventurers led by a man named Ardbert, who had accepted our invitation to look into the mysterious transformations, which had continued unabated in Brandon's absence. I forgot that Lamet still wears the dwarf face and beard at this point. Lady Saldia was overjoyed, and for a time it was like nothing had changed. They spoke often and grew even closer. And then came the day when we learned the truth. When we learned that the architect of our kingdom's suffering was none other than the court mage Tadric. I knew I remembered it correctly. The old man from the last set of cutscenes. It's him, Brandon. I'm sorry. That was not an Ardbird voice. So am I. Come, let's have done with it. It was you, Tadric. Do not deny it. Tormenting our people, twisting and transforming them into monsters. And for what? Brandon. And after I took such pains to be rid of you. You may strip me of my titles, but not my oaths. I shall serve Lady Saldia till my dying breath. As you like. Once I have killed you and your friends, there will be no one left to stop me from claiming the throne. Hear me, my children. The hour of reckoning is at hand. Rejoice, for in noble sacrifice shall you find everlasting glory. Let's see if I can do this first try. Lord Tadric, it hurts. Soon you shall know no more pain. Was going to make it quick for old time's sake, but now I think I ought to take my time. The direct approach isn't working. Your feeble magics are no match your feeble tricks are no match for my magics. He's drawing upon the ether of his thralls. Kill them! Well, we're trying, bud. Poor bastards. That's what you get for trusting a court mage. Brandon, bring them all in close. How long does it take for this person to get off their limit break? There we go. Such an incredible display of strength. The stuff of legends. There's no escape, Tadric. Surrender. I still have so many lives at my disposal? I think not. Come, children. In death shall your meaningless. I'll defend Lamet. Brandon, go to Nielbert. Now burn bright for me and die, die, die! Brandon, don't let him cast that spell. Do whatever it takes. A lot of this is just teaching you how to run the fight. I forgot to move my hotbars though before this all went down. You are most tenacious, but everyone has their limits. That attack's too much for any one person to take. We have to stand together. Your end is nigh. No sacrifice is too great to claim what is mine by rights. Rise, my children. Rise and defend me. Tadric? There is so much being said right now. Surely no one can harness such a massive torrent of ether. Such obedient children to offer up their lives as sacrifice. How much longer can you hold the line, I wonder? Long enough. Bastard's keen to drag this out. We can't keep this up forever. You know, I hope Ardbert is AoEing. Everyone, now's our chance to turn the tide. I've still got a few arrows in my quiver. Brandon, bring them all into the center like before. See that, Tadric? You're next. Time to thin the herd. Starting with that dwarf, perhaps. Don't you touch her, you bastard! Brandon, we have to defend Lamet at all costs. Whew, thank you both. I tire of these theatrics. Let's end this farce now. This castle will be your tomb. He's channeling a vast quantity of ether. Whatever he's preparing, we cannot let him finish. You heard Lamet, we have to stop him. Don't ask for mercy, Tadric. You won't get it. Now we're in the DPS check. And it's looking promising? Oh yeah, we got this. First try, baby! It's only because we ran it before. Meddlesome wretch! This kingdom is mine by rights. Brandon, what is the meaning of this? Tadric, you. But why? After serving us faithfully for so many years. I am no servant. No servant. Not of your mother or father. Or you. Ah! He didn't actually scream, but I feel like he would have. My lady! Gods damn you! Lady Saldia, speak to me. Brandon, my dear brave Brandon, am I your princess still? Would you honor your vows, even now? Now and ever after, my lady. My sword is yours to command. That as well. Would that I had the strength to wield it myself. Steel your heart, brave Brandon, and for the good of Vober and her people. No, I cannot. I will not. Honor your vows to your kingdom, to your princess. To your friend, who never doubted you, who knew that you would return and see justice. No, it should be me. Brendan, my sword, now and ever after. Shadowbringers really went hard on the feels. It became Square's goal to torture us as much as they could and see if they could make us all cry. And I think it worked. We've rounded up the rest of Taldrick's co-conspirators and tossed them in the good... Why can't I say that word right either? Jail. The ones who hadn't been corrupted by his magics, that is. What was that smirk? She had a smirk. I'll not hesitate again, no matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice. Well, you saw what happened. I did. That I did. Wicked White. She begged him to do it. Like Melinda. Come, let us quit this place and return to Pla Annie. Do you know why I entered into the royal family's service many long years ago? Because when I was attacked by a wild beast, which nearly tore me to shreds, it was Lady Saldia who came to my rescue. She saved me, and that is a debt that can never be repaid, for there is naught in this world which holds greater value than life itself. Not even her death absolves me of it, and so I must always first consider her wishes, her desires, what she would want for me and her kingdom, for Brandon, and yes, even for you, grandson. For me, to define oneself in opposition to the other, an other bereft of complexity of nuance, wholly devoid of redeeming qualities, a villain. Indeed, there is comfort in certainty and hatred, but it is a false and fleeting comfort, bought with lies we tell ourselves about who we are, what we must be, what we must do, and never you mind the cost. If anything, the more we offer up in sacrifice, the better. Do you not see? Brandon was right to hesitate, to doubt. The unwavering blade cares not whom it serves, nor who it cuts. I think I need a moment. Perhaps you do as well. Leave us for now, Morrighan. Well, now that I've pressed record after starting the quest, Granson has finally understood what Sulol was trying to get him to realize, and that he can't live for just vengeance alone. We have decided we must get the third item, which Sulol gave us a powder that will clear the glamour, and in the chest that is cleared here, we will find the ring. And with the ring, we will make Dikaiosine appear, so that we may finally eliminate him. This was a long flight. I should have teleported to Lita Laron and flew from there. But it's fine. We'll get this chest, we'll do the instant's duty, and we'll turn it in. Here we go. I do remember this duty being a tough one. You toss the powder into the air and it slowly settles to the earth. As twinkling motes of light, a coffer begins to take shape. This was one of the few duties that I had to turn down to easy. But we're going to see if I can do it without that this time. This must be the claws of Orthus. All that's left is to decide when and where we want to confront the Eater. Nope, he's going to decide for us. Or we could deal with it here and now. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Hey there, old man. I don't know you, and you don't know me, but I know your story. I know this isn't you, and I know that if Lady Saldia was here, she'd say the same thing. It'll all be over soon. I promise you. Will it, though? Will it? I don't know. I just don't know. Come, let's put the poor bastard out of his misery. I don't know if I need to stance up, but I'm going to just in case. Yeah, I didn't think I could stun that, but I mean, I had to try, right? That makes sense. Get behind him. Land of Sin. Oh. What the? Did he do that? Uh-oh. Well, that's hardly fair. Hold on, sinner. This is surprisingly complicated. Still with me? Oh, of course. Seraph Blade, get behind him. I thought they were going to be donut AoEs, but I was wrong. Oh, we each gotta be in one. Something doesn't smell right. Stand back. I didn't do that one. That's not gonna felt good. Tough old bastard, isn't he? But I'm no slouch either. Missed me, buddy. Sanctified holy, huh? Oh, come on, not again. Looks like it's my turn. I'm counting on you, sinner. Wicked White, I felt that one. Thanks. Okay, when it's in the 3 formation, it does it like that. We're down to the last 14. Please get behind him. You're really just gonna eat mechanics now, aren't you? Alright, here we go. Last little bit. Yeah! First try. Which is really like attempt number 5 or 6 if you include all of them as Aerolith. Damn, Eater. Let him go. He's not your bloody puppet. Finally.
I should have got knocked back.
You watching, Melinda?
Shoot.
You also might hear my wife in the background. And if that's the case, I apologize, but, you know, it happens when you game together in the evening. It's all good fun. Now, and ever after, my Lady Soldia, my sword is yours to command. Brandon, he's still in there. I'll not hesitate again, no matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice. Wait, is he trapped in the memory still? You're wrong, Brandon. That's not what she would want. Let go of your anger. Let go of her. But that would make me lesser in your eyes, wouldn't it? To shoulder a burden that need not be mine. No, I will not forsake compassion and love. I will not dishonor your memory. Oh, my Lady Soldia. He's gone. And he left behind the choker and the bracelet. And with that, the 3 treasures of the royal family are reunited. Now we've just got to find a place to stick them so that no scavenger ever stumbles upon them again. Least we can do for the princess and her knight, am I right? Maybe Sulol will have some ideas. Let's head back to Pla Ini. It is done. Brendan has been laid to rest. You saw us when we arrived. Do you really have to ask? No, I suppose not. Oh, my dear friend, I pray you have found peace. And what of you, grandson? Has your turmoil in your heart subsided at last? I suppose so. Though to be honest, it felt like I made peace with him before we even fought. Because you finally saw him for what he was, and accepted the truth into your heart. The battle was but an afterthought. Ha! Easy for you to say. You didn't have to cross blades with the bloke. By the way, I brought you some gifts. The 3 royal relics of Voba. Then Brandon was safeguarding both the bracelet and the choker. And now it's your turn to look after the whole lot. That's what Lady Saldia and her knight would have wanted, I reckon. Yes, of course, that their souls may sleep soundly forevermore. We shall enshrine these relics for all eternity. Now that that's settled, I suppose we should be on our way. There's a detour I'll have to take, but afterwards I'd like to speak with you back at the usual spot in the Crystarium. He says the usual spot in the Crystarium, and we have only seen him there twice. Be well, Sulol. Otherwise we've met him at Right or here. I think that one has a bright life ahead of him. Few can find the strength to overcome such terrible tragedy, but he did. As have you on no few occasions, I am sure. It has been a pleasure, Morrighan. Do visit me should you ever yearn to hear an old fool prattle on and on. Well met, sinner. Glad to see you made it back safe and sound. Having returned to where it all began, I can't help but think back to when I first came here, thinking only of Dikaiosine and my revenge. I was so wrapped up in my own personal affairs that I didn't realize I was only pushing others away. Glynnard was the only one who saw through the facade. He's a perceptive one, aye. Took one look at me when I got back and broke into a smile. But enough about him. I have yet to thank you properly, Morrighan. I owe you so much for sticking with me to the end. So what's next for you, sinner? Good question. Can't say I feel at home here or in Right or anywhere else. So I might spend some time on the road. I may not be as skilled a fighter as you, but I reckon I'm better than most. There was always someone in need of a reliable sword hand. Melinda would want me to use my talents for a noble purpose, and helping folks in need fits the bill. Hells, isn't that what Brandon and his comrades wound up doing in the end? So, let's not call it a goodbye. Let's just say, until the next hunt.
Oh! Oh, yeah. I thought I died for a second.
Wheresoever you go, may you find shade, sinner. Goodbye, grandson. I will see you in a later dungeon. Thank you so much for watching Morrigan's Shadowbringers tank roll quest video. I appreciate you all watching it and hanging out. Don't forget that you can watch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Caleb Games here, where I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays starting between 9 and 10 a.m. Pacific time. This outro is not great, but you know what? It's Christmas Eve. I'm tired. I need to get this done. So yeah, thanks for sticking around and watching the whole thing. I love you, YouTube, and I'll see you around.